I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
What's good? We're going to get into TNA Impact from May the 28th, 2026. This was an okay episode of TNA Impact. We are 4 weeks away until Slammiversary, which is TNA's version of SummerSlam. Hopefully, TNA can build a compelling card for this show. Hopefully, Slammiversary will be strong this year. I feel like the past couple of years before they did the NXT partnership that they have now, Slammiversary has been very weak. It was very strong last year because, Trick Williams was still there and stuff like that, and he was still champion at the time and all that jazz. So, there's that. As of, now, Slammiversary should be okay. We should get some surprises and stuff like that. But as of, right now, currently TNA is not really doing much of anything. And the ratings have dipped. They, for a second week in a row, have failed to hit 200K. They failed to hit that, which is not good. They're fine. AMC's not going to drop them, but I thought last week's show was actually kind of good, and I was thinking that they would have gotten a little bit more increase in viewership, but I guess right now everything is steady, is stable. I think one of the main reasons is because there was no pay-per-view this month. For the month of May, there was no pay-per-view, which kind of really hurts the product. Like when you are just doing television just to do television for a month and you don't really do much of anything in that 4 month time, in that 4 week time span, I could see how and why the ratings have dipped. So, there's that. Hopefully, they can increase the ratings again. TNA's main problem is talent. It's not necessarily the storylines and all that. It's basically the talent. So there's that. So we're going to go ahead and get into the ratings. So TNA for May 21st, they got 178K, and they ended up getting a 0.03 in the 18 to 49 demographic. So there's that. The show, like I said last week, was okay, but it's really not much going on. The only thing that did kind of well was probably, Steve Maclin and Mike Santana. I think that was good. But TNA right now, they're not really doing much of anything right now, storyline-wise. Mike Santana, he's basically directionless. Their main storyline is basically Santina Marella and Daria Ray. That's about it. Like, they're not really doing anything else outside of that. And then also, too, there's a possibility that they could be losing Mike Santana and Leon Slater to either WWE or AEW. I'm pretty sure AEW would not get both Mike Santana and Leon Slater. I could see it where WWE does make a play for Mike Santana, and then AEW ends up getting the services of Leon Slater. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So, there's that. But again, TNA needs to do better. They need more talent. Again, they just brought in Ricky Sosa. He hasn't been seen in a while. We haven't seen him since Rebellion, and that's been over a month ago. That's not good. EC3 is still out. Trey Miguel is out still. So, there's that. It's going to be a while before they can get some of the WWE releases. They recently just signed Fabian Aichner, and we'll talk about that when we get to it, because he was on this show. But apparently he's not signed long term. I think he's just signed until the summer, which is dumb. So he's basically going to be in TNA for probably 3 months at best, which is dumb. I have no idea why TNA is so scared to actually put pen to paper and fully commit to these guys and girls. They need people. That roster is very, very slim right now, and you don't have that many top acts outside of the Hardys and Mike Santana, and that's really it on the babyface side. Leon Slater, but it is what it is. But that's the problem with TNA. TNA needs to learn how to invest in themselves and try to keep and retain the services of certain talent. Mike Santana, my bad, not Mike Santana, but Fabian Aichner should have been signed to TNA for at least a good year, or at best 2 years. But then again, it could be where the talent just don't seem fully committed to TNA, and they just want to stop in there for a cup of coffee and then try to either go back to AEW, go to AEW or go to WWE, right? So I don't know, but hopefully the ratings can increase going into Slammiversary. So hopefully that does happen. All right, moving on. Let's get into the show. So we kicked the show off with it was a 10-person tag or whatever. It's like some shit. Well, there was a bunch of people in the ring. It was Champions Challenge. This was kind of dumb. So it was Mike Santana, Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, Brian Myers, Bear Bronson, versus Leon Slater, Eric Young, Casey Navarro, Elijah, and Frankie Kazarian. Basically, Casey Navarro got the win, so it's going to be Casey Navarro versus Mustafa Ali at some point. Don't know when that'll be. It'll probably happen at Slammiversary. You might as well do that. I think that'd be fun as fuck to see. I think that'd be a really good work rate match right there. So that should be fun there. So, there's that. Moving on from that, this leads us into Gia Miller. She's backstage with Sax and Ariana Grace. They didn't really say much of anything. They just made fun of Santina Marella and everything else and all that. That's all that really happened there. Who really cares about that? Moving on from that, the Righteous, they plan to get revenge on the Hardys and take them out and beat them up. I don't care about this. This is a miserable feud. This thing has been going on for way too fucking long. This thing should have ended at least 2 or 3 months ago. This thing's been going on since January. This thing should have ended at Rebellion, if we're being honest. I don't know why this feud is continuing, and it's not a good look. It's just not. Moving on, Tessa Blanchard, she defeated Harley Hudson. Match was pretty okay. Tessa Blanchard is still directionless as fuck. She ends up winning via the buzzsaw, which is a great move, by the way. Again, Tessa Blanchard has no direction. She's in a feud with Rosemary, basically, which is fine. But again, she's not been able to sniff the Knockouts World Championship in a minute, and that's not good. I don't know what TNA is doing, but I guess they don't trust her, so she's kind of in the doghouse. She's in the doghouse for whatever reason, so whatever. I mean, it sucks, but at least she's still there. But Tessa Blanchard should be higher on the card and everything else, right? So, whatever. Moving on, the injury report. So, Macklin, he refused to get medical attention last week during his match, so his status is unknown. Jada Stone, she's out for a little bit. after she suffered something at the hands. A DDT at the hands of Xia Brookside, so she's gonna be out for a little bit, probably just for a couple of weeks. Moose is still out from being attacked by the system a few weeks ago, and then both Santina Marella and Stacks are clear for their match later on tonight. Okay, that's fine. Moving on, this leads us into Stacks versus Santina Marella. So this match was okay. Ariana ended up getting involved. So Santina was about to use the Cobra, and then Ariana got involved. She got on the ring apron and all that stuff, and then Stacks ended up rolling up Santina Marella. So there's that. So whatever. Post match, Ariana and Stacks, they were going to beat up on Santino some more, but Indy Hartwell showed up to make the save. Indy basically challenged Ariana and Stacks to a match. And she wants the match, right here, right now. And then Sonya Deville, a.k.a. Daria Ray, showed up. And she said it's not going to happen tonight, but it will happen next week. Okay, that's fine. Who really cares? This feud continues. It should fully end at Slammiversary. So Sonya Deville's basically coming up on the end of her contract. So I would imagine by Slammiversary, she's done with TNA. Hopefully she re-signs if she still has any love for the business, if she still wants to do it, if she still wants to work. I personally think she probably will end up re-signing. Again, I don't see her ever going back to WWE or even try to go to AEW. I don't think she'll do that, really. Sonya's been wrestling for over a decade. I'd say a good maybe 12 years, I think. I think she came to WWE, I want to say in 2016. So she was with WWE for a good 8-9 years until she got released. So there's that. But I'm hoping that TNA can retain the services of Sonya Deville because she's great and she's awesome. I'm a fan of Sonya Deville. I always have been, really, if we're being honest. And I think TNA, in my opinion, is the perfect place for her to stay, right? But we got to wait and see how that stuff is going to play out. But hopefully she will end up, staying with TNA, hopefully. I think that'd be fine because I just don't see her going to AEW, and I don't see her going back to WWE at all, period. So, yeah. Moving on from that, this leads us into Fabian Aichner. He made his in-ring debut against Eddie Edwards. The match was thrown out because the system, they got involved. Aichner almost had the match won. He ended up locking in the Lafina. And so the referee threw out the match because the system got involved. So, there's that. So, Fabian Aichner wins via DQ. And then the system, they beat the shit out of Fabian Aichner. So, Fabian Aichner is going to be with TNA until the summer. Hopefully, TNA can actually sign him to an actual deal. Again, I don't know what the fuck TNA is doing. I don't know why they continue to not want to sign talent, long-term. They're just, putting these guys and girls to probably a 3-month to 6-month deal, which is dumb. Retain these people's services and continue to move on. People that they need to be bringing in are, top guys from WWE and AEW. What I'm saying is, decent mid-carders, like Aleister Black and stuff like that and everything else, right? That's who they should be bringing in. I don't know why TNA can't really capture the services of anybody. Where the hell is Ricky Sosa? Where the fuck has he been? All right, he's been gone since Rebellion. What's going on with that? Is Leon Slater, is he sticking around? Is Mike Santana, is he sticking around, right? These are questions that TNA, they've yet to answer, and it's not a good look. It's they need talent galore on the men's and women's, right? The main event scene is weak. The mid-card scene is kind of weak as well. The tag team division for the men and women is very weak. And again, TNA needs to bring in new talent. They've got to bring in new talent. And so hopefully they're able to get some of the services of the WWE releases. Hopefully, Aleister Black shows up along with Zelina Vega at some point in time. Same thing when it comes to the Wyatt Six, which I think that should happen there. So, I don't know, but TNA's got to do something. They've got to retain their talent at some point. All right, moving on from that, this leads us into the main event of the evening, basically. So it was a 6 knockout tag team match. So it was Xia Li and the Elegance brand, M and Heather by Elegance, versus Xia Brookside, Atlanta Black, and Mara Sade. Didn't really pay attention to this match, really, because it wasn't really that important. Xia Li ends up winning. Xia Brookside ends up winning via the Dark Side DDT for the 1-2-3. So we are going to get Xia Li versus Xia Brookside for the Knockout Women's Championship at Slammiversary. That's fine. That makes perfect sense. Do I expect for Xia Brookside to win at Slammiversary? Probably not, because that'd be dumb as fuck. Lei Ying Lee just got the title, so why would she lose it? So, again, this episode of TNA was fine, I guess. Not really too much occurred on this show. This was kind of filler, more of a nothing burger. Next week, the build to Slammiversary officially starts. And so hopefully TNA can put on some big matches, and build to some big matches, right? Like, what's Leon Slater going to be doing for Slammiversary? What's Mike Santana going to be doing for Slammiversary? What are the Hardys going to be doing for Slammiversary? We've got to get an answer to these questions. So all in all, the show was okay for the most part. Nothing really stood out. Nothing major really occurred. So, it is what it is. It happens. So, again, this was a total filler episode of TNA Impact. But it is what it is. But what did you guys think of TNA? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.